Welcome back, guys. I'm going to go ahead and give a warning about this episode. Uh, if you are easily offended, don't like talk about sex or things of that nature, this might not be the episode for you. Just go ahead and skip it. But there are some things I want to talk about that kind of pertain to me and the way I grew up and that sort of thing. And you're going to find that I'm very open about these sort of things. And again, that's what this is all about. So, like I said before, I grew up in a pretty religious family. Not like hardcore, but it was the kind of, it was the, we go to church on Sunday, every Sunday. Even when I was a teenager and I was working, basically full time, I was working 40 hours a week. And I wouldn't get out of, I was working at McDonald's. And I wouldn't get out of work until, sometimes 1 or 2 in the morning. But my mom would come down at, 7 o'clock and wake me up because I gotta go to church. And I'd be falling asleep in the pew. And eventually my dad kind of coaxed her into letting me not go all the time because he knew what it was like. He worked in a burger joint when he was young and knew that I was getting in super late. So didn't have to go all the time. I was part of a youth group in my teenage years as well. But I really kind of fell out of religion. I was probably 13-ish anyway. But I was brought up, kind of sex is for marriage. It's between two people who love each other. Sex out of wedlock is, bad, and you go to hell for that. And that if you were gay, if you were bi, which those are the only two kind of at the time that I knew of, you were going to hell. It's not that it was the whole hate the sin, not the sinner, but but that was really stressed. And so, I can admit at a young age I was kind of homophobic because of my upbringing. And I didn't know any gay people until I was, in my teen years, actually. But I don't know, there was a certain point where, when I started doubting the religion thing, that I started, doubting other aspects of what I was brought up to know. And, sexuality became part of that. We were taught that God loves everyone. And I didn't understand why someone who, a man that loved another man, a woman that loved another woman, whatever, why they couldn't be accepted into heaven. That didn't make sense to me. I didn't get why being gay was a sin. Like that just, you love who you love, and you care for the person you care about. It just didn't make sense to me. And so I started questioning it more and more. And then, in middle school, I had a best friend who was kind of a big homophobic. And so I kind of hid my thoughts because he was one of the few friends that I had. And a good guy, aside from that, and that was how he was brought up too, though. So, and he's not that way anymore. He's not. But, for years I kind of had a hard time being friends with him because of this, in our teenage years and such, because I didn't think that at all. And I knew there wasn't many people who were out at our school because I come from a very small community. I've talked about that. And people just didn't. I mean, there were some that did, But, I had a friend that, he was a year older than me, and I didn't know that he was gay until a couple years later, like after I graduated. And we kind of reconnected on MySpace, and he's like, "There's something I need to let you know. I'm gay. I've been with my partner for so many years." I'm like, "Oh, I had no idea." He's like, "Yeah, nobody really did." He's like, "I hope that doesn't affect, our friendship." I was like, "No, I don't know, not at all. Like, I don't, that's not a thing to me." But he was worried because of, the way we all grew up here. But there was, I've talked before, I was called a lot of names growing up, middle school, high school, a lot of the derogatory terms that I'm not going to repeat here. You know what they are. But there was a time where I started kind of questioning myself. Before I get into that, I should tell you that I was 21 before I lost my virginity. Some people have a hard time believing that, but it's true. I dated 2 girls up until that point. I'd had a other girlfriend, but it lasted a very short time. But really dated 2 girls, and both of them wanted to wait till marriage. And I'm not going to pressure someone into that. That's their own choice, and I respect that. Of course, I wanted to, but what teenage 20-year-old guy doesn't? But yeah, I was 21, and funny story about that. At one point, I was probably 19, 20-ish, somewhere around there. My brother and my dad and I were the only ones home. And my brother kind of like got my attention somehow. He's like, "Hey, Brandon, Dad and I have a kind of a bet going on." He's like, "I need you to settle." I was like, "Okay." He's like, "Tell Dad you're still a virgin." I was like, "What?" He's like, "Dad doesn't believe me." I was like, "Yeah, I am." He's like, "Are you kidding me?" I was like, "No, I am." He's like, "What were you doing down there with your girlfriend all the time?" I was like, "Oh, I'm not saying we didn't fool around, but we didn't have sex." He's like, "Oh, I just assumed." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm sure." Teenage boy. Of course, I get it. But yeah, I mean, I did plenty of things, but sex, wasn't until I was 21, and then it was twice. I was engaged to a girl, and we had sex twice, and then after we split up, I was with another girl, and we, several times, and then progressively on from there. But at one point in my high school years, I kind of started questioning some things. And again, if you don't want to get into this, if you're not comfortable with hearing some things about me, go ahead and turn it off. It's fine. But I'm going to be open about some stuff that, honestly, not a lot of people know about. I'm not going to go into huge details or anything, but, I am going to be honest and reveal some things that I feel will help you guys get to know me better. But, I started finding myself attracted to guys. But at the same time, like, when I'd watch porn or something, like, or even looking at myself, I don't like dicks. Like, I don't find them attractive. Like, I don't. It just doesn't do it for me. Or like a really hairy ass, like, ugh. I don't like give me a little more information than you guys need. I don't like that my own ass is hairy. I used to shave it, but it just became too much of a chore. But yeah, I found guys attractive. And, out of high school at some point, that came into my mind even more. I was single. I was going to college. And I found myself more and more debating my feelings. I was trying to fight it. I guess it's still that, like, I don't have Catholic guilt because I didn't go Catholic, but that religious guilt, I guess. Even though I didn't believe in it, it was still there. I'm sure a lot of you have had that in your lives over something. But, being in college, I started kind of thinking about some things, and, am I attracted to guys? Am I not? Is it because it's taboo in my mind still because of the way I was brought up, or what? And at some point, I just kind of had to make a decision. What do I do? I'm not going to know unless I know. And I found myself attracted to a guy, and he was attracted to me. So, again, I'm not going to go into too many details, but, that was that. And so, I will say right now, I often, for the most part, say that I'm straight, but if I'm being technical, I am bi, because I do find guys attractive, and I've had experiences. A few, not many, because I find myself more attracted to women. Again, with guys, I am much more picky. When I haven't been with a guy since a long time, since my wife and I, before my wife and I got together. But I was always very picky. There's a certain kind of look I like, whereas with women, I'm not as picky. I just find women attractive, and it can be varied. What I find attractive in a woman. Sometimes it's personality, sometimes it is looks. I mean, let's be real here. There was a time where I was working in a factory, and some of the older women there were trying to hook me up with this girl that we worked with, who was a few years younger than me, and she was really cool. Like, we got along really great, and we actually started hanging out pretty regularly, and I would even stay at her house, a couple nights a week. We'd get drunk together, watch movies. She was cool. She played video games, she smoked weed, she drank, all this stuff. And, she was open about her sexuality. She liked sex and this stuff. But I wasn't attracted to her. And the women I worked with gave me a very hard time about that. And I said, well, it's not fair to her if I'm not attracted to her. Like, well, you can. I'm like, no, I can't. Some guys can do that. Some guys cannot be attracted to a woman and have sex with her because it's all about the sex. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, if you just want sex for sex, that's fine. But I have to be attracted to someone, for things to work. That's just, if I'm not attracted to someone, it doesn't really work for me. And eventually she and I lost touch, and it sucks. I feel really bad because I honestly do not remember her name, and we hung out a lot. But if you're not attracted to someone, you're not attracted to them, and you can't help that. You can't force yourself to, and that's fine. I've always felt kind of in relationships, that is the one thing that you can be picky about. Because if you're going to be with that person, especially long term, you want to make sure it's a good fit. Whether it's, personality wise, the things you like to do, sexually, whatever. Those things all have to be in place. Otherwise, if a couple things are there, that's fine. You have to find a good mix. But it's okay to be picky when you're talking about a relationship, a partner, whatever. There are people that think the opposite, but for me, when you're going to be with someone you want to be with. Someone that fits what you want. Yeah, it may take a while to find that person. I'm not saying that it won't. I was single for years. I was single for a couple years, and I didn't even have dates. Like, I just never been good with women. I'm not a good looking guy, so I don't have that going for me. I don't have money. All I have is just who I am. So when you don't have all those things, it's more about personality. And not that I have the greatest personality, but that's kind of the only thing I have going for me. So when you are picky and you don't have those things in place, sometimes you're just single for a long time. And some people hate that. And it does suck. It does. I'm not going to lie. It sucked. I was lonely, But that's life. It's not fair. But again, you can't force yourself to like someone, just like someone else can't force themselves to like you. And that's how things work. But my thoughts on sex and sexuality is very differing from a lot of people. There may be a lot of people that I know. Also, a lot of people that I'm friends with don't openly talk about it. Not that they're necessarily embarrassed, but it just doesn't come up in casual conversation. I really don't have a problem with it. There are certain things I get a little embarrassed about, but, I don't mind. I actually enjoy talking about it sometimes. I wish the world was more open to that. And it seems like it's slowly getting that way, but there's still, a lot of taboo there. But again, being brought up to think that it's only in marriage, no. What if that's kind of where it started for me, was what if you get married and you find out you are not sexually compatible? I know sex isn't everything, but it is something. It is a part of a relationship. And if you don't have that, man, it's going to be rough. So I just, casual sex is nothing to me. Not that I've had a lot of it in my life, because I haven't. But I don't have a problem with that. I don't see a problem in it. As long as you're being careful and using protection and that sort of thing, have fun. Why not? If that's what you want to do, it's not against the law. So, and then with sexuality itself, I have friends that are bi, that are gay, that are pansexual. I have friends that are transgendered. I guess I understand why people have problems with it. Again, a lot of it comes from religion and upbringing, but I don't, and it is hard for me to sometimes understand that. But then I remember back to when I was younger, and some people just never overcame that. And technically, they have that right. They can believe that. There's no law saying you can't. There's freedom of religion just as much as there's freedom from religion. I don't like it, but I accept it. That's just how it is. It sucks. If you're someone that that is gay or bi or whatever, and you have people in your life that, or you know people who don't agree with that, I'm sorry. Like that sucks. Unfortunately, they do have that right, and it doesn't make it better, but I don't know. It's hard. It's tricky, but you just have to find people who will support you, and cut out those people that don't. Like, that is the best thing about being an adult, is you can just cut people out. Just get rid of people that you don't agree with, that you don't like. I have like really close friends that don't believe the same politically as me. That's where I'm a little different too. Like, I don't cut those people out because they believe in something else. That's what they believe in their heart, and I can't fault them for that. I don't have to agree with it, and we can have a debate, but it doesn't have to be end in a ruined friendship. I'm not saying it hasn't. Some people are just very hard-headed. I'm just very open about a lot of things, and so when it comes to sexuality, I'm extremely open. Like, as long as you're not hurting someone, as long as it's not illegal, as long as you're not forcing someone, that makes me sick. As long as it's not with an animal, again, as long as it's not illegal, I don't have a problem with it. If you're into the just very plain vanilla sex, that's fine. If you're into something a little more extreme, some BDSM, if you're a sub, a dom, if you're into, group, whatever. As long as it's not illegal, have fun. Enjoy life. Why let that stop you? Don't kind of try to move past those hang-ups. We all have them. I have my own little hang-ups here and there. It's just who we are. It's part of our makeup. But over the years, I've kind of wiped out a lot of that. There's not much left, really. I'm kind of okay with everything, again, have fun. Like, don't let anyone tell you that you have to be a certain way, be yourself. Be unique as much as you can. I mean, we're all alike in a lot of ways, but enjoy life. If you don't want to get married, don't get married. Don't do it because society tells you that's what we're supposed to do. Don't have kids because society tells you you have to. Don't be straight. Don't be because society tells you to be. No. There was the 60s. There was revolution in a lot of ways, and sexuality was a big thing. We need to continue that. I feel like, and I feel like people are. There are people working towards that. A lot more people are outspoken and comfortable with their sexuality, and they're fighting for that. I also see it a lot more in women, and I think that's great. As a society, there's still a lot of kind of standards that certain people hold towards women. If you mess around, you're a slut. No, you're not. You're not, unless that's what you want to be. I mean, I'm not going to judge you there either. But be yourself, be open, enjoy it, have fun. Like, there's no reason why you can't, goof off and laugh, too. Like, that was the thing I was taught, is that, sex is a serious thing. No, sex is whatever you want it to be. If you're into role playing and doing fantasies, fuck, get some costumes, have fun, whatever. Enjoy what you enjoy. Like, we're only on this planet for so long, and why not? We try to enjoy other things, food and friendship and this and that. Why can't sex be a part of that? Just, equally. I think something else that I want to touch on is, it's a very tricky subject, is, I know when I was a teenager, with my sexuality, it was hard for me to talk to people about, especially adults. I didn't trust adults. I didn't feel comfortable with it. And I was afraid with my friends I'd be judged. And the same with adults. I feel like we need to be more open with teens to a certain point. To a certain point. But they need to feel comfortable being able to ask questions and talk. Otherwise, they're going to learn these things on their own, and they may get hurt or pregnant or, any number of things. We need to have conversations with them in a way that is comfortable for them. We need to let them know that it's okay. You're going to have questions. I know I learned a lot from porn. That's what I learned about sex. And that can be good and bad. It really can. I don't have a problem with porn. Porn's great. But there is a lot in there that, it's an exaggerated truth. So, our children need to know what's real, what's not. Just like with cartoons, what's real and what's make believe. It's the same thing with sex. They need to understand that it's it's okay. It's natural, and they're gonna have questions and this sort of thing, and they're gonna experiment, and at an age where we don't necessarily want them to, because we all did it too. That's don't judge because you did the same thing. It's like with drinking. How many people really waited until they were 21 to drink? I know there were people that did, but I know I didn't. So just remember that. Remember, if you have kids, if you have teenagers in your life, to let them know that it's okay, that they can talk, create a safe place for them. They need that. We all need that. We really do. We all need it. So if you have someone in your life who has questions, who is having a hard time with their sexuality, let them know it's okay. Let them know it's okay to talk about. Let them feel comfortable. As long with what you're comfortable with, of course. That's very important. What you personally are comfortable with. But I think that's it. This has been a little more interesting. I'm in my pajamas. It's getting late. Still drinking beer. I appreciate you guys, again, checking out my videos. I hope you enjoyed this one. Let me know, if you want to talk sex, sexuality, whatever. You can comment below, you can email me, you can hit me up on Instagram, whatever. I'll talk to you. With whatever you feel comfortable with and whatever I feel comfortable with, that sort of thing. I'd love to hear from you. You guys have a great day. I love you all. Until next time.